The good news, my friend, is that we are done with Thanksgiving. We had a wonderful time. I hope everybody had a delightful and a wonderful time with friends and family, and you did whatever it is that you do to celebrate the let's face it, because it is about family. It is probably the most important aspect of anything that we do, where it is called family. But now we have to focus on what we're going to do as a society. Remember something. They are counting on you to be, dare I say, quiescent, to be tired, to sit back on your laurels and figure everything is groovy, everything is fine. This is what they're counting on. They are counting on this. And we're not going to let that happen. If ever we needed you to be more vigilant, it is now. Think of this as New Year's Eve. Think of this as, what you're going to do in terms of your resolutions. What are you going to do? How are you going to involve yourself as a sentient member of this society? What are you going to do? What is going to be your role in this? And it is so clear to me, absolutely clear, beyond anything that we have ever seen. It is so clear. And we need you, and we need your vigilance, and we need your genius, and we need your stick-to-itiveness. We need everything that there is from you. We need this. Do you hear what I'm saying? We need you. And one of the things that you're going to do, first and foremost, is you're going to take it upon yourself to figure a way to become more and more involved in everything that is going on. And I suggest to you today, if you have not done it, you must sign up or have your own X or your own, whatever you want to call it, Twitter. This is the most important thing you can do, because you're going to hear about it the fastest. You're also going to see trending, and you're also going to see how things are trending our way. As we speak, my friends, listen to me carefully. The left is going berserk. They don't know what to do. They are freaking out at levels we never thought possible. They know this. And while I want to just kind of take a look at what they're doing to see what they're up to, I don't want to spend my time laughing at them and basically rehashing everything that they are doing. Okay? You see what I'm saying? It's a very, 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 very important thing that we do this. Now, I want you to sit tight today. I want you to relax. I want you to get ready, because we're going to have fun, because we are winning. Understand something. We have not been in this position probably ever. We have everything. What we have now more than ever is not just the House and the Senate, but the momentum. This momentum. And that is so critical, dear friends. Now, before we begin, I want you to listen very carefully. Today, of course, Black Friday. If you have ever so much as deigned, had the inclination, thought about, said, you know what, I think it might be a good idea to maybe look into this emergency food. Now, my friends, is the most important. Black Friday. Even the name sounds ominous. Ignore this warning at your own peril. Millions of your friends, neighbors, fellow countrymen are about to make a fatal mistake after our election. They're going to be complacent. Do you see what is going on in the world? We're going to be talking about this. Now is not the time, my friends. Preparewithlionel.com. There's a Black Friday deal going on right now with specials that are going to end. Tomorrow is the end of the month. That's it. Think about this. We're getting into December. Now is the time, my friends, today. Preparewithlionel.com. Do what you've been wanting to do. And if ever you've needed the motivation, if ever you've needed the impetus, now is the time. My friends, let's start off with one of the most incredible stories. A Democrat state leader who is out of her bloody mind, who's doing everything and anything to placate and assuage her friends, is calling for a coalition of Northeast states to secede from the Union and join Canada because President Trump is returning to the White House. You can laugh all you want. She didn't do this on her own. She didn't say, you know what? Call me wacky. I'm just going to do this. Senator Liz Krueger, who is also floating a scheme somehow to withhold awards of $300 billion in federal taxes, defended her ideas in a conversation with Politico. Quote, "It is unreasonable to think outside of the box. It is not unreasonable to think outside of the box." This is the chairman of the Senate Finance Committee. Now think about this. You can laugh all you want. You can laugh all you want. But it's time for us to get really serious about this. In September, she spoke with City and State New York.com. This is a local endeavor here, about a 4-state secession from the Union if Trump won, where New York, Massachusetts, Vermont, and Connecticut would join Canada. Now, understand a couple of things. Let me stop right now before we lose ourselves in this. What we have to understand is that one of the things that was very important, one of the arguments that was made during the slavery days, was that we have to maintain slavery because, after all, who is going to do all of this work? Who is going to pick the fruit and the vegetables? And this is what they said then. This is what they're saying now. And what are they doing now? They're talking about secession. They're actually mimicking that which they speak about all the time. This antipathy, obviously, they have towards and regarding the Civil War. Now listen to this. This is Liz Krueger. Quote, "I know that Canada has basically said, yeah, we're not letting you all in if he wins. I don't know who is making this trek Americans, especially with Trudeau on his way out. But as individuals, they basically made it clear. But that's why I thought, oh, why do I have to leave this country? I love this country. And if Trump wins a second term, it's not actually my fault or people in New York. So I thought I would suggest to Canada that instead of us all trying to illegally cross the border at night without them noticing, which is pretty hard because there's a lot of us, that they should instead agree to let us be the Southeast province, a new province of Canada. And I offered, even though I hadn't gotten agreement from other states yet, that I thought New York, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Vermont would combine and be a great new province as the Southeast province of Canada. She says basically everyone in these states, everybody rather, are progressive Democrats. And they would fit in pretty well with the political philosophy of at least most of the Canadian elected officials. Now, this is Krueger. Her district is the Upper East Side and Midtown here, has even floated the idea with connections who say politicians in Ottawa could back it. Quote, "I propose that this could be an option." And I got back some unofficial responses and heard this is probably sellable in Ottawa. And look, if we were Europe In the length of time we've been a nation, for Canada, if we were European countries, our borders would have moved around 20 times by now, right? Now, while she plots to counter Trump in any way she can, Liz Krueger, Trump has made it clear that he is willing to work with New York Democrats to restore the state to greatness. During this monstrous, sold-out Madison Square Garden event in the lead up to the election, Trump said he wants to make New York safe, and that's terrific, and that's wonderful. But let me explain to you what is happening. And this is what this is all about. First, this is the insanity that we are dealing with. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? Where is the immediate response, the shock troops from us, from us? Where are the shock troops? Okay. That we have. Where are they? Where are the shock troops that we have? And this is important, that we can use and implement and provide to show immediately we're going to primary you. You know, we talk about something in this country. There's a lot of people who talk about AIPAC. And there are a lot of progressive Democrats and others who say AIPAC is this is the Israeli Political Action Committee, American Israeli, not Jewish per se, but it's Israeli. And we're always hearing about AIPAC. Let me tell you about AIPAC. Whether you like it or not, or like them or not, they are the most effective, absolutely the most effective way in using their money and their forces politically. If we are going to work, if we are going to be viable as a bulwark against these people, if we're going to be acting against these people, if we are to be acting in a way, seriously, and I cannot be any more serious than this, if we're going to really make a big deal against these people, we have to be able to say, okay, Liz Krueger, you're politically dead. And we put somebody up and we pour in millions of dollars like they do. Cori Bush, remember her? Gone. What's her name? Cori Bush? Yeah. There are people who dare stand up. They tried to primary Ilhan Omar. They tried it. They know how to work it. This is the thing which is the most important. This is where we are the worst. We are the worst. We are the worst, which we're going to end. We love to think that by maybe going on the Brian Kilmeade show, or maybe if there's a good meme going out. Now that's important and that's critical and that changes the overall picture. But somebody has got to learn. Somebody has to primary her and to say, this is what happens to you. I can't say this enough, my friends. I can't say this enough, and we're going to do it. Our good Gene Crane says, who will pay the hotel bill and EBT cards for all those migrants? Canada can't afford it. Just wondering. Hit that like button. Indeed. I don't know if she is necessarily talking about being the American equivalent of today's illegal alien, Gene, but that's a great point. Brian Ekdahl says, sending Hanford away from Lacey, Washington, still and always your new best friend. Brian, thank you so much. This is so critical. This is so monstrous. Let me say this again. They've got to learn. We don't primary them. We vote for ourselves. We'll say, let's vote for President Trump. And we did it. He has to have shock troops. He has to have groups of people who are politically involved in and directed toward these folks right off the bat. We've got to do this. We've got to show them. when there's Denver mayors and you've got the governor of Illinois and others, we've got to show them that you will pay. You will pay. We have to have mobilizations. The number one issue right now, is still the border. And we're still kind of talking about it.
Director of Immigration and Customs Enforcement confirms that more than 13,000 illegal immigrants convicted of murder have been caught at the border and then released into the United States. The letter here tells the tale. Hello, I'm John Roberts in Washington. You believe this, Sandra?
Which means they are here. And This is just an unbelievable development. I'm Sandra Smith in New York. Good to be with you, John. This is America Reports. Let's get right to Bill Malugin. He's got this news for us. He's live out of Douglas, Arizona right now, where Vice President Kamala Harris is set to visit later this afternoon. Bill, the details of this news, what do you have?
Yeah, and Sandra, bear with me. We just got these numbers moments ago, but it's a jaw dropper to say the least. So to set the stage here, let me just explain what these numbers mean. ICE has something called a non-detained docket. Essentially what that is it means migrants who were encountered by DHS but are no longer in federal custody. So who's on this non-detained docket? It's illegal immigrants who were caught and released at the border, released with the court date years away. They're in immigration proceedings, combined with illegal immigrants who have already been ordered deported from the country by a judge but are still here roaming the country. So keep that in mind, this non-detained docket. According to a letter that the acting director of ICE just sent to Texas Congressman Tony Gonzalez, on ICE's non-detained docket, they're currently tracking 425,000 non-citizens who have been convicted of a crime. Of that number, over 13,000 non-citizens have convictions for homicide and are on the non-detained docket, meaning they're roaming the country right now. On top of that, there are another 15,811 non-citizens convicted of sexual assault who are roaming the country right now on ICE's non-detained docket. It doesn't stop there. Those are convictions. The ICE director also says there are currently just under 1,900 non-citizens on the non-detained docket who have pending homicide charges who are roaming the country, and another 4,250 non-citizens who have pending sexual assault charges who are roaming the country on the non-detained docket. So people's eyes might be glazing over right now with all the numbers we just threw at you. Just to put it in a nutshell right here, what we've learned from the acting ICE director via this letter to Congressman Tony Gonzalez is right now there are over 13,000 illegal aliens convicted of homicide who are roaming the United States right now. There are another 15,811 illegal aliens roaming the country right now who have been convicted of sexual assault, and there are even more who are facing charges for homicide and charges for sexual assault. So this just goes to show, guys, the non-detained docket has exploded under the Biden administration to over, I believe it's 7.3 million. They're anticipating it could hit 8 million by the end of the year. But looking at the numbers on this letter right here, there are currently over 600,000 non-citizens on ICE's non-detained docket who are either convicted, 600,000 non-citizens on this non-detained docket who are roaming the country right now. Of that, 425,000 have already been convicted of crimes. 222,000 are pending crimes. And again, the most serious crimes we just told you about.
Now, I hope that we make this very, very clear. And this is where this is going to be the beginning of activism. Activism that you can be a part of. And first and foremost, as I said, the thing that must be done, that must be absolutely critical, that is critical, is for you to be a part of this and to know every single thing that is going on. Let me just try to tell you something. I can't say it. I can't say it any more than what we're saying right now. And this is it. We are under attack. We are under attack, and it's not from Putin, and it's not from Yugoslavia, from Ukraine or anything like that. It's not from Italy. I can't get these straight. Israel. It's not Hezbollah. No, it's here in this country. It's almost an autoimmune system. It's almost an autoimmune system. We are unable to protect ourselves. We are seeing things. We are seeing things at levels I never thought possible. Never. I knew that we always had some people that we might have disagreed with politically or intellectually. I understand it. But I never knew there were people like Fauci, Mayorkas, others, Krueger, who wants to secede. I know it's all nonsense. You might say, oh, it's just, whatever. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The fact that she got the okay from her Democratic leadership means these people, listen to me, are the enemy. Now, I don't know how to say this anymore, but do you need, let me rephrase this, not you. Does America need a special announcement that this is the civil war that we are talking about? And there's no shots fired. There's no muskets, and there's no, Antietam. These are the people who told us. These are the people who told us that we were committing and aiding and abetting secession and sedition and everything else you can imagine by merely asking for, by merely, and this is important, by merely suggesting that we were, and this is important, arguing with, disagreeing with, protesting the official vote of the 2020 vote, which we are learning now was stolen. Let me tell you something. Everything, remember the numbers. Remember Joe Rogan was saying it. Everybody was saying this. And Mike Pence and other people are saying, well, this was legal. No, it's not legal. It's these people said it was okay. That doesn't determine that it's legal. I don't listen to them. I don't listen to CDC or NIH if they tell me that a vaccine or any kind of particular protocol is safe because they say it. I know that may sound heretical to you. I know this may sound strange. I don't believe them. Let me remind you, they are telling you again, listen to me. They are telling you that you must stop what you're doing. You must stop what you're doing merely because they say it is so. This is something which I cannot tell you enough. We are in the middle of something that we have to take it to the next level. Let me be as clear and as obvious as I possibly can. Nobody is suggesting at any point violence or anything along those lines. They will try everything in their power to suggest that we're trying to advocate for some kind of violent overthrow. It's not true. You know it, I know it, and we can't let them determine us. We can't be afraid of them. Let me also tell you something. We need, as you notice, have you seen how all of a sudden, with Jay Bhattacharya, with Bobby Kennedy, with Marty McCary, with others, all of a sudden, for the first time, people are talking about vaccines and safety and myocarditis. For the first time, it was verboten. Do you understand that? Do you see what's happening? We're getting our sea legs are back, or we're getting our foundation again. We're tough again. This reminds me of pre 9/11 internet. when Alex Jones roamed the earth. Do you see what's happening? People for the first time are pointing things out to you. And you've got to notice, like this.
So brainwashed that you could convince them to be terrified of a virus that they've never seen, while spraying them daily in broad daylight in the sky, only for them to deny it's happening to them because no one on TV told them it was.
This is an intellectual, spiritual, social, political, governmental awakening, the likes of which we have never seen before. I want you to recognize this. With this president, his leadership, but also, and this is where Elon comes in. Elon. If I could sit there and say, Elon, we have to show them something. What do you mean? We have to target. We have to have our own APAC. We have to have our own citizens pack, free speech pack, whatever you want to. I want you to get all of your friends and all of the people that listen to you and all the people that we're going to put together something. We're going to pick somebody. All of a sudden, Liz Krueger in this kind of a New York State Senate all of a sudden gets $10 million of constant barrages of media, TV, flyers. I mean, to show them we've got to have a body, figuratively. Remember, people are going to be listening to us and they're going to say, are you advocating violence? No. This is the thing which is so critical. We are looking at something which I can't put into words anymore, my friend. This is the need for war like they've never seen before. And it's got to, you can't let up. You can't let up for a moment. And where they get the most scared is a political race. And what the Republican Party, oddly enough, has been the worst at is knowing how it's done. There are some people who sit around, you've got the, how do I say this? The Karl Roves and others who talk about the numbers and they love to tell you, we haven't won this seat since Grover Cleveland was, okay, fine. I want to say this again to you. Number one, you're going to be hearing things that we never could talk about before. 9/11, vaccines, election denial, anything. You are seeing it now at levels we never thought was possible. It's the way it used to be. From gay frogs to name it. Anything. Remember, who remembers 1990? Well, maybe 2000. Remember when the internet was nascent? It was wonderful. And what do we have now? What do we have? You know what our idea now of exciting is? Don't use black plastic. We've got all of these health babes in their kitchens trying to be an influencer and trying to find some cool way. We've got somebody who's doing pull-ups and that's okay. And we've got some babe, who wants to dance the thing in the kitchen with the mother. Okay, that's fine. We even have Kai, bless her heart, Trump, the granddaughter. She's doing it now. She's enjoying her status. Okay, she's a kid. Fine. Let them do that. We need hardcore. And I want there to be a super secret contingent of people whose names will never be known, who are going to be influencing and saying, this is what we need to know and what we need to do. Do you know what it means that Zuckerberg has gone to the White House? Do you know what that means? They've given up. They see the writing on the wall. I can't say this anymore. I can't put this into into explanation anymore. I can't tell you. It's different. You've got all of these people. You may laugh. We may laugh. Okay, Joe and Meager, Zika, the Shrika, whatever these people. It's not. It's not important. It's not important about them. What it is, and this is important, is we've got to understand that these are the people who are so desperate. They recognize the futility of what's going on, and they don't even have any self-respect where they will go hat in hand kissing the ass of President Trump. The next thing we need to do is you have to have high level people, big names, Mayorkas, Zuckerberg, Gates, indicted. Let me say this again to you. I want to see Zuckerberg. I want to see these big names, huge. Gates, Mark Cuban, Alec Baldwin. Okay, why? In my secret group, I have a department of the DOJ. You know how they have the Office of Legal Counsel? That's like that's the creme de la creme de la creme. Okay. I want to weaponize our own DOJ. And I want to have the best and the brightest and the smartest career prosecutors and new lawyers to come up with me, to basically concoct, contrive, construct a theory by which either treason, some civil rights violation, some kind of intellectual trespass was committed by Zuckerberg, until you get that freak's ass out there and you say, this is what you did. You will take all of the statutes that are there. Maurice says, love it or leave it. Okay. I like that. It's worked before, Maurice. It has worked before. But unless you've done something, let me give you an example. Let's assume, work with me on this. You work for AT&T or T-Mobile or Verizon or I don't know what the hell it is. And as a public carrier, you had some type of device on your phone system that shut people down from speaking if they said something pro-Trump. Do you see that as being in any way problematic? Yes. Do you see it being a violation of some communication statute? Yes. Do you see it as being a very serious problem? Yes. Can you think of a way that he has violated the Logan Act or something? Yes. Unless and until we see a Mark Zuckerberg prove that money will not help you. They went after a former president. And they wanted to throw him in prison. Are you upset by this? Are you going to sit back? Hell no. And say, that's okay. Let's don't fight fire with fire. Let's just continue to watch our good friends on Fox News and they'll take care of it. I'm sure Hannity will he and Lindsey Graham will have something. Hannity can talk like that and talk about bleach bit and the usual. No, that is bullshit. That is over with. Unless and until, so political, legal, you've got to have people, and we are going to control the media by point, boom, boom, boom. The governor of Illinois, the mayor of Denver, and all of a sudden you say, wow, what is that? Look at this. They clobbered them. This is what AIPAC does. Let me explain something to you. We can argue all day long. AIPAC is Zionist, they're this. Fine. I have nothing but respect for anybody who says this is our opinion and we're going to get it done. And if we have to own you, buy you, whatever it is, we're going to do it. We mean business this time. I'm not going to go through this anymore. I want the Republican Party, of which I am not a member. They've got a lot to do. First of all, as long as Lindsey Graham and these people are there, come on. They're clowns. You know, that's just the name. That'll have to do. You know, it's like my friends who come here from Ireland and, you know, they live on Sunnyside and they wanted to get into American sport. So they say, what do you, okay, you're a Mets fan. All right. They're a Mets fan. We're the Queen. All right. And next thing you know, they became very, you know, ardent Mets fans. And that's fine. Well, that's kind of the way we are with this. E.D. Crowley says, man is not the creature of circumstances. Circumstances are the creatures of men. Disraeli. I love that. I like when you can take something. God is not the creation of man. Man is the creation of God. You can do this all the time. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. Gravity does not reflect our presence here. Our presence reflects gravity. People say, what? What does that mean? Elon should buy the Congress back right out from AIPAC. If that's what it is, fine. I remember Elon, politically, at this point, it is ridiculous to go head to head with AIPAC. It's ridiculous. These are the realities. Now, let's talk about Putin.
Warming up to the idea of nuclear winter?
Well, actually, I think we may have dodged a bullet thanks to Russia's technological development. You know, when they fired that Oreshnik missile, they opened up an alternative to nuclear war and basically showed the United States and Western Europe something that none of us have seen. And there's now an alternative. And what do I mean by that? Let's say that plant that they hit, the Yuzhmash plant, massive Soviet-era defense facility, several layers underground, a mile long and a mile wide. It's a big place. In the past, prior to last Thursday, if you wanted to hit it, you'd have to use a tactical nuke. If you wanted to really wipe it out, you'd use a tactical nuke. Problem with the tactical nuke is it's got this terrible blast effect, causes lots of collateral damage, going to kill a lot of civilians, going to leave radiation scattered, cause some hurricane force winds in the
not for a thermonuclear. Remember, the new ones, this is fusion, not fission. Fission, fissile, those are the old ones. Fallout, that was Hiroshima, that was a different. Today's, they just destroy everything. Thermonuclear is fusion.
Immediate area, knock buildings down. What the Russians unveiled last week is this hypersonic MIRV missile. A MIRV has multiple warheads that are independently targeted on the re-entry. So MIRV, multiple independent re-entry vehicle. And it's MARV. You know, we can't talk DOD stuff without having acronyms. MARV, M-A-R-V. That is maneuverable re-entry vehicle. So not only has this thing got multiples, they're maneuverable, and they're traveling upwards of 10 Mach, which is really fast. So fast that it looks like a lightning bolt flashing to the ground when you see it. The nice thing about it is what Russia put on display last Thursday was a kinetic weapon. The damage and destruction it's causing is just by the force of the impact. It's not radioactive. There wasn't any explosive attached to it. They can attach explosives if they want. But best of all, it was precise. It's almost like you had a bullet that behaved like a nuclear weapon, except it didn't give off the radioactivity explosion, and you fire it out of a sniper's rifle. And the best part of this was when Putin was describing this, and I used this in my post the other day at Sonar 21. You two are too young to have remembered the movie Billy Jack when it came out in 1973. But this movie was featured an actor by the name of Tom Laughlin. He was half Indian, half half gringo, and he was fighting against all these corrupt cowboys, I guess you'd call them, up in South Dakota who were persecuting the Indians. And at one point, he's confronted by this the bad guy. And as he's standing there barefoot, he says, you know what? I'm going to take this right foot here, and I'm going to put it on, whop you on that side of your face, and there's not a damn thing you can do about it. The bad guy goes, really? And Billy Jack goes, really? And then whomp, kicks him upside the head. That's what Vladimir Putin did last week. He goes, we got this missile. You can't stop it. We can hit whatever we want within 3,500 miles of here. So what we're going to do is, if you don't stop firing your ATACMS, Storm Shadow, and Scalp missiles into Russia, we're going to retaliate. And when we retaliate, we're going to hit a military target. We're going to tell you what that target is. We're going to give you fair warning so you can clear your people out, because we don't want to kill civilians. And then we're going to hit it, destroy it, and there's not a damn thing you can do to stop it. Welcome to the new world, boys and girls. That's a game changer. With that game changer, in a way, nuclear weapons get taken off the table, because now the United States doesn't have anything it can counter that with except nukes. And if they go the nuclear route, we're all dead.
Absolutely. Absolutely. ZT Den says, dig deeper. Who had what clout or threat to make someone with money like Zuckerberg Twitter comply? Who and what was the threat? It's not so much the threat. Let me go back and ask you, where did this come from? Where does this one from? Witness, Lionel wants lawfare? No. Lionel wants the laws maintained and enforced. Lawfare is taking the law and going after someone to get them out politically. Witness. And it's a good question. Lawfare is, we don't like this person. Let's think of something. Oh, no. I want to go after people that are hurting us now. Anybody have any objections to that? Anybody want to send these people a lesson? Lou Lewis says, you are expressing the righteous rage of 100 million people. I'm completely with you. Not going through this again. Absolutely. Absolutely. This is the thing which is the most important. First, and that's a good question, Witness. This is it. I can't say it enough. Look at this. All of my stickers over the years and all of my, oh my God, I voted. The vote means nothing if the vote's not counted, if the vote's unexpressed. And we right now are in the middle of the biggest means of addressing people ever. This is something which is this is our intellectual nuclear bomb. The ability for me to train people, to teach people. Dissemination, it changes everything. There would be no Beatles if nobody heard it outside of Liverpool. This goes without saying. There would be no Contagion. You know that when cancers remain in situ, when the thing about cancer is to make it metastasize, to spread it. I want to spread the holy word of truth of our system. That's it. I don't want to go after somebody. I never want to have a system where you can't say something. I don't want to get rid of CNN, get rid of voices. I don't care. If you think that vaccines are good or bad or made from aliens, I don't care. I don't want your religion affected. I don't want your speech affected. I want your ability to think. I want to live in a system that we treat, and this is important, this is critical, so listen up, where we treat the idea of streaming and the like as a public utility. I told you before, if you run Verizon and your phone dropped every time you said the word Trump, you would go right to the Public Service Commission or whatever your jurisdiction would be and say, you can't do this. This is not the means of speech of a private corporation. This is the means of humanity. Do you understand this? Let me say one more time, and I can't say this enough. You heard me. When I talk about, and I swear to you, this is the part that gets me. When I talk about prepare with Lionel, I want you to understand, you do know we live in a world today where this is scary, scary stuff. Where we're talking about things that are so important right now. I want you more than anything right now to take advantage of this before the end. Right now, for example, Black Friday, this is happening. There's no second chance. These bargains, they say, won't be back. It's now or never. Up to 67%. They are slashing. You know it, and I know it. Preparewithlionel.com. I can't say it enough to you. And by the way, I want to say one more thing, too, and I always do this. I will never forget what they did, because speech to me is critical. What they did to our good friend Mike Lindell, it's disgusting. And Christmas is literally this month. It's going to be December before 2 days, okay? Preparewithlionel.com and mypillow.com/Lionel. Get on the bandwagon right now and load up. Let me go back to what I'm saying. Can't say it enough. We have to change the narrative of this, my friends. We have to change the narrative. This is very critical. Raul says, if the states secede, can the U.S. use MIRVs? The U.S. can use MIRVs against its citizens to stop it? What? We're not going to have secession. We're going to have people like this who were stupid enough to think this kind of ridiculous theory can even be posited without retribution. That's the problem. I'm going to go back to you. We have got to get free speech back. Every single thing I'm hearing, every single thing, everything, the greatest, I can't say this enough, my friends, the greatest Bhattacharya and others, this was the greatest. If there was one thing that President Trump did, one thing, that was probably his greatest move. It is Jay Bhattacharya. That is the FU to these people. So when we lived, I'll never forget this. We said, I don't think this is right. I live in a country. I live in a country where there are people that I know can say things and think things about the way they live their body. If you want to, what you eat, what you drink, maybe as so long as there's some kind of labeling. I want you to know if there's microplastics. I want you to know when foods are GMO. But if you elect to eat and consume microplastics, if you want to consume crickets, if you want, I don't care. You should be able to do it. And you should be able to go on any particular platform, including this, to say whatever you feel, because the internet streaming is not an individual, corporately owned, privately little room where you can go up and start your own, Yahoo or Google or whatever. It doesn't work like that. Well, if you don't like this phone company, then start your own. Doesn't work like that. That's the most ridiculous argument I've ever heard in my life. You got to tell these people, you don't understand this. We're here. We give you the opportunity to serve us, like in the old days. In the old days, the notion of public of broadcasting being in essence almost like public service, you actually had to earn your license, and every year they were up for renewal. And you had to show that we're doing something. We're not just a private company that can put whatever we want. Let me explain to you. Everything has been saved. Remember this?
I share some caution on this because we just don't know the long-term side effects of basically modifying people's DNA and RNA.
This is Zuckerberg. August 2021. This is Zuckerberg.
To directly encode in a person's DNA and RNA, basically the ability to produce those antibodies, and whether that causes other mutations or other risks downstream. So,
do you understand how this thing works? Do you understand this? This is the most important thing. This is our bodies. We were held hostage by this. Hostage. Fauci has got to be indicted, not under lawfare. Fauci has been a part of a criminal conspiracy to suppress speech, deny your civil rights, and also to promulgate and promote untested chemicals that Bobby Kennedy has said that he's never been able to substantiate. Next one, immediately, listen to me and listen carefully. If President Trump said, there's one thing you can do, one thing, what is it? Come on, Lionel, as people call me. I don't know why. I guess it's the train. Anyway, one thing, Mr. President, one thing, name it, okay? Immediately, as of today, all congressional immunity from liability for vaccines, vaccine protocols, and the like, all liability suppression and immunity is removed. The irony is amazing. Vaccines are supposed to give you immunity, but the companies should not be in a position where whatever they put out, they do not suffer a serious financial and legal responsibility for the safety and efficacy of any product they put out immediately. Let me say this again. All immunity is removed. Right now, you could put out, what if you were, what were you, Moderna and this? Anything you put out, anything. Test it, don't test it, but hey, we're in a, these are tough times. That's done. It's finished. I guarantee you tomorrow, forget it. You understand what I'm saying? This is the most important thing ever. Who in their right mind wants to live in a country where a company has a product that can kill you and they are given immunity from liability? Would you get into a car? Would you, as much as we love Elon, I don't want him to have a liability immunity on Tesla so that he decides if the brakes don't work, oh, well, what? Or if the steering, all of a sudden, if the steering wheel comes off in the middle of it, oh, well, you can't sue Tesla. Sorry, he's a great guy. No. I'm not getting in there. No. But see, I have that. I have that option. I have the option where I can go and not buy a Tesla if I don't want to buy it. But if somebody says, oh, no, you have to have this. You have to have this. For the longest time, Jacobson against Massachusetts, 1905, the idea, I call it biomedical tyranny, biomedical martial law. Do you own your body? The body that these people want to say is theirs, that allows them and gives them the permission to perform and commit and have abortions. Rick Perry did this with HPV and Gardasil. Do you have any say in this? Do you have any say in this? Do you have any say in this? I do have a problem, and I will tell you this much. There are things that I know as a matter of fact, certain forms of virulent, serious hepatitis. If you get that, you are just just pouring out possible transmission of hepatitis. You go, bilirubin levels go through the roof. You're yellow and jaundiced, and you die, and you go hepatic turnover and failure. It's serious. Can you think of somebody? Can you think of a question? Listen to me now, where the government says you have a disease. You have currently a disease that is so infectious, so dangerous, so incredible that you are going to be quarantined because you keep going out and giving it to people. Can you imagine this? Yes or no? Answer my question. I'll answer it. I'll wait for you. Can you ever think of a situation? Can you ever, hepatitis A, hepatitis B, hepatitis C, can you think of any situation, anything, where somebody says, this person keeps going out. This person keeps going out, and we're saying, just stay home. Don't make us do this. No, I'm going out. I don't care. I'm going to go to the mall. You can't stop me. I'm saying, now let me ask you something. Remember, too, if you think, ask yourself this question. If you say no, now, granted, I better really be proven. You better really prove to me this is true. I want Bhattacharya, I want Marty McCary, I want others to say, oh yeah, he's absolutely correct. Oh yeah. Oh, are you sure about this? Oh yeah, this is the one. You sure about that? Oh, absolutely. Okay, fine. What are we doing that? But you see what we're doing? You see the way I'm doing this? I'm saying, can you prove to me this? I'm not sure yet. You better prove it to me. No, not yet. You didn't do a good job. Oh, no. Believe me. I guarantee you, listen to me. If there was a disease that made people fat, you would imprison them. You would put them on an island. If there was a disease that said, you're not going to believe this, but it's a brand new disease, but for some reason, I don't know why, but when you're near these people, they'll pass this on to you and you'll get fat. You'll put up, maybe who knows, maybe today it won't matter. But I guarantee somebody says, whoa, wait a minute, hold it. Now, does this come without problems? You better believe it. You see what we're doing? We're doing critical thinking. We're asking, is it possible? Does it exist? Does society have the right, in the right circumstance, with the right disease and the right contagion and the right people, to order? Yes or no? And anybody who says no, like, nope, really? This one's sick, this one's sick. See, it's weird if you're like in an apartment building or an office and you say, you're not going to believe this. We got the 5th person in this this week who's out because of hepatitis. Why? Because it's this person. This person's got it. I'm telling you, well, we can't do anything about it. No, you don't understand this. No. Anybody who tells you that, anybody who says, no, I'm sorry, because they are so horrified and guided by what we went through with COVID that people are, okay? Let me ask you this. Now it gets really tough. You have somebody who is how do I say this? Who has AIDS, and they keep having unprotected sex and giving AIDS to people. What do you think about that? Anybody? Well, believe me, we need to talk about that. Because people don't like the idea of that. When do we as a society Well, let me tell you one thing. While you figure out what is and isn't transmissible, I'm telling you right now, immediately, anybody who is shut down for talking about it, for talking about it, let me just explain it to you. That's great talk. You can discuss it. You mean to tell me you want to live in a world where you can't talk about, okay, you lose all your privileges. We're going to go on a social credit score. The Chinese are telling you what they're going to do. We've been in a social credit score. We've been on this. There have been people who just went away. There are people who we used to like. We used to listen to them. We used to enjoy their company in this wonderful family of social media, streaming, and they were destroyed. They were shut down. They were exiled because of what they said. This is when I say, wait a minute, hold it. I can't talk about it. You can't talk about it. Because these idiots came up with this idea where they came up with this nonsense called Wikipedia and Snopes and PolitiFact. And they came up with this, and they basically told you, we, in our opinion, we think this is, and we have to have these special these little reader responses. Well, that's not true. I can't believe it. That's what I'm talking about. Everything else we can say, you know what? We'll worry about that later. But to talk about it, I can't talk about it. What are you, nuts? This is crazy. So number one, we must immediately have this strike force, and it has a name. Everybody says CPAC, and the CPAC, APAC. Don't give it a pack. Give it a name. You know how that Project 2025? Call it that. Make them eat their words. Give them a word, something that they hate. I don't know. I don't care what you call it. But all of a sudden, people get targeted. And we go after people. And the first one, Adam Schiff. Did you see that Steve Garvey? And that was it Steve Garvey. That, what a waste of time that was. He's got to feel the full. Adam Schiff was ours. We could have, we could have turned him radioactive. Didn't do it. I don't know why. Why? Because we still have more deals with people than you can imagine. This thing is so phony, so fake. This is inside jobs, and we've got folks that we're making deals with this one. Okay, we'll let you destroy our country. And you, oh, no. Let me tell you something. This is something I've never seen before. Never seen anything like this before. This system is so corrupt. Why is Adam Schiff involved? Unless somebody said, okay, we'll make a deal with you. What is he? Planned opposition? What is this? Is he controlled opposition? Do we need him to buttress? I don't know. I want him gone. I want people to say, holy shit, these people mean business. Not only are they shutting CNN down because there's no money, the government's not shutting them down. Ratings are shutting it down. Corporations coming it down. I want to tell that Caitlin, by the way, look deeper. You know that Caitlin Collins, whatever, the brow lady? Why do you think she's made it to the top so much? Come on, keep going. Why do you think? Her talent? Come on. We'll see what's going on with it. Number one, political. Number two, people have to be arrested. There has to be. Don't ever call it lawfare. You want to call it lawfare? I want to see Fauci, why Fauci has lied. He has deliberately lied. He has lied before Congress. He has lied, and he's held in contempt, he and Ray and others. They need to be treated the same way that Steve Bannon was. And if anybody's got a problem with that, F you and the horse you rode in on. F you and rotate. Period. That's the way we're going to do it. And we have to understand one thing, that from now on, revoke Section 230. Get rid of this. We're not going to have any more of this. If you don't like YouTube, if you don't like Rumble, if you don't like it, don't watch it. It's that simple. don't watch it. One of the biggest media extravaganzas that's going on right now regarding Wicked. You don't like it? Don't watch it. Nobody's making you go see it. We have been, this is called learned helplessness. You have been, for the longest time, my friend, kept inside, shut down, shut up. You have been told to go outside, stand in line, stand on that adhesive, 6 feet away, 7 o'clock, we'll let you scream outside the window. Wear a mask, don't wear a mask. Somebody sees you, they unleashed a social experiment on you that the likes of which wasn't even, oh my God. And the worst part, whatever the problems were from this particular contagion was nothing compared to what it did to kids and the suicide rate. I mean, we fell for that hook, line, and sinker, and everybody was behind it. Everybody. And you sit back sometimes, or people sit back and say, do you wonder, how did they ever do that in Nazi Germany? Are you kidding? Are you kidding? We look the other way. We look the other way. Let me give you something too. You know, sometimes you get the strangest words of wisdom from people that may not look like they know what they're talking about, but they do.
Million people, the people who pick your crops, the people who process your meat, the people who, care for your grandmother.
Guys, let me just say that if these lines sound familiar to you, if the Democrats saying that if you deport all these illegals, who's going to pick your crops, who's going to process your meat, who's going to take care of your grandmother, if all of that sounds really familiar, let me tell you where you're remembering it from. You're remembering it from your high school U.S. history classes, because these are the exact same arguments that the Confederacy used as to why they wanted to keep slaves. This is exactly what they used to say before the Congress. They would say that if you get rid of slavery, who's going to pick the crops? If you get rid of slavery, who's going to process all the goods? They would say this about a million different things and be like, well, if you get rid of slavery, you're going to crash the economy. In fact, that exact statement, getting rid of slavery was going to crash the economy, was used by the president of the Confederacy, Jefferson Davis, in a meeting that he had with Abraham Lincoln. So guys, please recognize that if that shit sounds familiar to you, it's because it's the same argument that the South used to try to keep slaves. Democrats are nothing if not willing to reuse their own bullshit.
Absolutely. Here's one for you too. You ready for this one? This is a good one. Speaking of Wicked and the Wizard of Oz. Remember this one? Maybe you didn't. Let me see if we have this story. I want you to watch this one. This is a good one. This is real good. Hang on a minute. Okay, here we go. Watch this one. I love this stuff. I love this. There we go.
28 years to realize who's the real villain in The Wizard of Oz. We grew up believing the Wicked Witch of the West is the villain of the story, but is she? Think about it. Her sister gets murdered and her shoes are stolen by Glinda, shoes that are silver in the original story and belong to her mother. And what about Glinda, the good witch of the South? She literally used Dorothy to kill the witch of the East. Not to mention she avoided telling Dorothy she could have used the shoes to go back to Kansas.
You've always had the power to go back to Kansas. I have.
Then why didn't you tell her before?
But rather, she left Dorothy going through the yellow brick road to meet the wizard, who actually left the kingdom right after. And by the end of the movie, by using Dorothy, she eliminated all her competition in the realm of power. So who's the real villain?
Isn't that something? Don't you love that? Don't you love that? I love when society and stories and literature and everything. How do I say this? You realize that's not what happened. That's not what he said. That's not the story. That's not what Jesus said. That's not whatever the particular parable is. I love this. I love when somebody says, that's not true. That's not it. And it goes for the notion of political. Oh, I'm going to show you this one right here. Hang on. I'm going to show you this, and I'm going to show you this is critical because this is something that you will never understand because you're so used to it. You have to sometimes stop and say, do you know how great this is? Do you know how great this is? Okay. How great thou art. This is something which I want you to pay attention to. Hang on a minute. I think this is it here.
Can now officially project that Donald Trump will become.
Now stop right there. Before we forget, I want you to listen to me. You may think this is a joke. You may think, oh, there is an absolute impenetrable meme that is being expressed at levels that we are not used to. Okay. And everybody is now calling Kamala a drunk. You got that? The same way they called Joe Biden out of his mind before later on they realized he was out of his mind. And everything you said about certain contagions, you were right the whole time. Now, look at this right now. You can laugh at this. But this has replaced the political cartoon. This is how serious this is. They will never, ever be able to forget this one. No, listen to me. We have done it, not because of Trump, but because of our ability to speak freely, our ability to use a political cartoon via AI. This is brilliant.
Decision desk can now officially project that Donald Trump will become the 47th president of the United States.
I've been really trying. You know what? This is the thing which people always forget. I don't care how I get you to understand something, as long as you understand it. One of the reasons why, we remember why Romper Room was so great, and Sesame Street, and the Electric Company, because it taught you. And it may have seemed like cartoons, it may have seemed like whatever, but it taught you. And anything that works to teach you the truth, I'm going to advocate it. Does this make sense to you, my friends? I'm going to advocate it. So listen, let me give you a kind of a retake on this. We are so good right now, it is not even funny. And this idiot, this fool, this Liz Krueger, this Democrat who wants to push secession, somebody is going to pick up the phone and say, who authorized this? We don't need this. We don't need this. These people have it's like having that spoiled child who for the longest time just did whatever they wanted. And you said, one day, and then they said, you don't do anything for me. You don't scare me because I'm a spoiled child. And you see a lot of times in these arrest videos, these people who were just raised in this world. Well, let me tell you something. We're in charge now, my friends. You understand this? So celebrate this. Celebrate this. We're in charge, and it's not going to be pretty. So Raul and Lou and ZT Den and Edie and Maurice and Brian and Jean, God bless you. Thank you so much. Have a great and a glorious day. I hope you had a delightful and a wonderful and a beauteous Thanksgiving yesterday. I hope all is well and all is terrific and all is special. But in the meantime, recognize what we're talking about right now. This is a revolution. But unless and until we show them that we mean business, this is all for naught. All right, dear friends, make sure you are subscribed to Lionel Nation. Make sure you are subscribed to Lynn's Warriors, and make sure that you keep following us because we mean business. And until then, my friend, remember, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue you. Dad.